Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're enjoying this week here at Southern New Hampshire. And I want to make sure that you're comfortable with putting in the Zybooks Laboratory 851. And it's a simple assignment that we're going to be checking for bad input. So when you create your assignment, and I've copied it from Zybooks in here, always remember that even though Zybooks doesn't require, it's always good programming to put your name, assignment, description up top in here. So the very first thing I want to do is just go over what all these things are. This good bit, EOF, and fail bit, bad bit. These are error states in here for the mask. When something goes wrong, a mask is set with specific bits. So what we're doing here is we want to get an exception from input, which is a C in. You can also have a C out exception or an F stream exception in here. But here we want to use CN, and we're going to check for fail bit. So let's go and see what fail book is. And it's basically a logic error, which is really bad input. So normally it's when you're trying to input a string into an integer. These other ones here we're not going to use right now, but good bit just means everything is fine. And EOF bit is when you reach the end of a file and you're trying to read past it. But bad bit is really the really serious one here. What will happen here is you'll usually crash the program. It's unrecoverable. So you want to trap all these things. So the first thing I want to do, though, is two things, actually. I want to put a prompt in for the input name and for the age. But before we do it, I want to say, well, maybe I don't like -1 as my ending here. I always recommend, and you'll see how we're going to put it in as a sentinel. I always recommend using a sentinel. Now there's an issue here. And so let's go and what our normal sentinel would be a constant int, and we'll call it a sentinel value. And we'll make it -1. And then we'll just put here while does not equal sentinel. And let's see if we get any kind of an error here. So input name does not equal sentinel. So let's go and see if we run this program. And of course, if I actually had it done correctly, we should get an error down here. Why are we getting this error? Let's go and look and see. It's because we're trying to match input name with sentinel, which is a integer. So what we need to do here is change this to string. And we need to make this -1. Now, the advantage of doing this is it allows me to change and allows us all to change the sentinel value. And if we have a prompt in here, we don't have to worry about it. So notice that whatever it is here, we're going to change the value of sentinel. We're going to look for that. So let's put in a prompt, which I'm going to copy here. And I'm also going to put it in front of this here. And then we'll create a prompt here for cout enter age. Actually, I already did it. So let's run this program real quick and see how we do. So I'm going to enter the name as Joe. And I'm going to type in 20. And everything's good. Then let's try in -1 and see if our exit works. And it does. So that's good. Now let's run it again, but this time let's make an error. So we'll do the same thing. We'll do Joe again. And his age is high. And you go, uh-oh, we have a problem. So let me show you what's going here. We have an error in here. Abort has been candidate retarded. It doesn't really give you a real lot of information here, and that's because what we did here was try to put in something that was invalid. So how we do this, we just go and we want to do a try and a catch. So in here, we're going to, for the enter the age, we're going to put in a try, and this is going to give us an error, so don't worry about it. And then we want to try and we want to get the enter the age in here, and that's all we really need to do. And wait a minute, I don't see anything. All we did was put in a try. And it says, see, well, the reason is because you cannot have a try without a catch. So now what we want to do is, what is the actual catch? So we're going to put in catch, and hopefully I will spell this properly. We want to do IO base, and this is where our fail bit comes into. So we're going to do failure. And what we need to do then is, let's see, did I spell something wrong? Let's see what I did. I'm missing this here. So now we're good. So now we can put our information in here. So I'll just put C out in catch. And let's see what happens. Now that's not going to clear everything up, because there's a few things that we need to do as well. But let's just make sure our catch is working. So we'll do Joe, and we'll do hi. And it says in catch, but now we have a dilemma. You look at this, in catch, Joe, 8, and we have all this other stuff. So why did that happen? So let's go back and take a look. So we caught the catch. It says in catch. Then it went in here, and then we have to see out the name, and then age plus 1. Well, age, we have an issue. Age is 0. It should be 0 in the catch, but we're not setting it. So we're doing something really strange. We're trying to use age, and age has not been set. And remember how I always tell you, it's always a good idea to initialize variables. Well, there's a perfect reason why you should. So we're going to leave it like this. And what we want to do inside the catch, we're going to do age equals 0. So let's go now and run this. We'll do the same thing. And we'll do hi. It says in catch, name. We still have an issue. So what we have to do, let's keep going. What we need now is we need to clear, because what happened is we failed in here in the exception, but we need to clear the error, and we need to clear what's inside of the buffer. So there's two different ways to do it in here. So the first thing is always a good idea is to do cin.clear. So let's go and run this and see if that works, but there's one more step that we have to do. Okay, we have catch. It says in catch Joe 1. So we have a dilemma. We still have all that information. So what you need to do is you need to get rid of anything that's in the input buffer in here. So there's different ways that you can do it. You can use the cin.ignore, or you can use a get line and just put some dummy variable in for get line. I like to do the cin ignore. And if you want to choose the cin ignore, this is how I do it. So why do we still need the cin? Because we input age as hi. So what happened here is you still have invalid information because you still have the new line character in here. So what we want to do here is I'm going to do a cin.ignore. And I like to do 100. Some people like to do the max in there. You have to include limits. I usually use this int underscore max, which is a very big number. It's like 2.1 billion. And then minus n here, whatever comes first. So far we're looking pretty much like we got everything. There's a few housekeeping things that you can fix on your own. So what I want to do is I'm just going to put in a simple end line here. We're going to run it one more time. And then I'm going to show you some things that you can do on your own if you want. So let's go and take a check, see if this works. So we'll do Joe, and we'll do hi, and we'll do 23. So it says enter age, in catch, Joe 1. So we have a dilemma here. So we put Joe high 23. So again, you have to still be very careful of what you're inputting. So let's go back now and do it one more time. And we'll do high again. And everything looks good. Joe and 1. Then let's do Joe. And let's do 23. So it should put Joe and 24. And we'll do -1. And we are done. So that's a good sign. So the last thing is I want to go back to some bad input again and how we can fix it. So you saw it already one time with the high, putting it on the same line as Joe. So let's just do it again. We'll do Joe. And I'm going to hit high without realizing it. Then it's got enter age and catch, Joe 1. So we have a dilemma in here. So it never actually asked us our age because it automatically printed in catch in here. And I'm going to delete that in catch so we don't see it anymore. I'm just going to comment it out. So how can we fix this? Well, it's really simple. Is what we want to do here is put in another see and ignore right after our input name. And then we can do the same thing down here as well. So let's go and do the same thing again. And we'll put some bad input. And we'll do Joe and high and enter age. So what happened here is we hit Joe, and because of the new line character, that was still in the keyboard buffer, and then we still had high HI in there. So we got rid of all that. Then we can do R21, and that looks good. And we'll do Sam and say 30. And everything's looking good. -1 is here, and we're done. So that is this for the video. I hope it's helpful for you. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to address them. So have a wonderful, wonderful day.